Hey guys, so today we're doing something a bit different. Today we're actually doing a review for Suicide Squad that came out, I think, just last week. I saw it just yesterday. And the first half of this is going to be spoiler free. The second half will have spoilers, just so people who haven't seen it can still watch the first half and kind of know what they're in for without having to get some spoilers. Also, a warning, I'm not sure if the comments are going to have spoilers or not, but if they do, go there at your own risk, you know what I mean? Just for those who haven't seen the movie. So, spoiler free. Overall, I think it was a great movie. I would give it a solid 8 to 9 out of 10. There were a few problems. There was definitely some room for improvement in the movie. And personally, while that is there for me, I thought it was wonderful. I thought the performances, for the most part, were awesome. Nothing really was all that underwhelming except for a few scenes. No performances were underwhelming. It was really just certain scenes for me that were, and even then it was only like one or two scenes. So again, like overall, I think it's worth watching. Personally, I think you guys definitely go check it out. I think the issues that I had with it were some pacing issues. I know that some people have been saying that. I would agree with that. I wouldn't say that they were as persistent as some people out there are saying. I think the pacing issues are really very mild, and the most present they are is in the beginning. And really, those are the only big issues that I have with the movie. Again, I think it's really worth watching, and you guys should go check it out. Alright, spoiler time. So, question that's all on our mind, how was Jared Leto as the Joker? Personally, I loved Jared Leto as the Joker. And I loved him because of how different his performance was. I think I would say that I like him just as much as the Dark Knight Heath Ledger Joker. But they're so different that they're great for what they are. Neither of them is really he's great as the Joker, because both of these are such different takes on the Joker character that it's impossible to really say which one did better. But I will say what it reminds me of, and honestly, I love that it reminds me of this. So, in my mind, Heath Ledger's Joker is sort of like the comic book live-action adaptation of the Joker character. And I think it's like that because he's the most like the comic book character that I've seen on screen. He has a very big mystery to who he actually is, and that's a huge part of his character, not only in The Dark Knight, but in the comics. It's a huge part of his character not knowing kind of who his character is. And I think that was a really big part of Heath Ledger's performance, and that's why I think he's closer to the comic book Joker, and he did a great job with that. He was, amazing as that. However, Jared Leto's Joker is farther from that, but he is, in my mind, a straight-up live-action adaptation of Batman the Animated Series Joker. Which is fitting because this is the movie where Harley Quinn makes her first live-action adaptation. So, again, I thought it was really cool that he was like that. The reason I feel that he's like that is because there's so many similarities. Maybe not the whole psychotic twitching around stuff that I did, but aside from that, he's the mob boss, and most of all, the mystery that Heath Ledger's Joker and that the comic book's Joker has isn't really present in Jared Leto's performance, and it's not really all that present in Batman the Animated Series. And again, there's no problem with that. I think that's cool, and I think it's a great take on the character that they managed to pull off, and that it was so close to a very beloved version of the Joker that I just love how he did it. And again, the mystery of him is such it's a lesser aspect of him than it is in the comics. It's there, of course no one knows who this guy actually is, but no one questions him because he's the boss around Gotham. He's the boss around town. And I think that was really how Jared Leto kind of pulled off his performance. And again, I think he was great. Props to him for his performance. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, same thing, Batman the Animated Series Harley Quinn. She's of course been in other stuff, but I think that Harley Quinn in this movie really stayed true to her roots, which I think is nice. It's really cool to see such classic versions of these characters sort of just being brought to the big screen directly. It was really cool. Deadshot was great as well. He had some good character development with him. I had a few problems with how they introduced him, but I'll get to that in a second. El Diablo, I think, had maybe not the most character development, but had the best done character development. You can tell this is a guy that feels true sadness. This guy really has changed, and he is really the main spotlight of the redemption arc in this movie. Because Deadshot kind of redeems himself. Harley Quinn sort of redeems herself a little bit. not fully, but she does some good things in the end. El Diablo, like, full on dies a hero in the movie, so I thought that would be, like, really cool. I know someone brought up that they think that Killer Croc should have died and that he should have died set off the bomb, kind of like a moment where it's like he's not going to die a monster type thing. And, like, I think that would be cool, but I think that maybe, for one thing, it would be way too sad for me if Killer Croc died, because he never kind of reached the full potential that I think his character could reach through a redemption arc. I think that they should save that for sequels, and I don't think he should die in it, but it is sort of a good premise for him redeeming himself in a very noble, selfless way. I like that idea. Now, let's get to some of the issues that I did have with the movie. The pacing is basically this movie's issue, aside from one other thing, which is still considered pacing. So, what I will say is that the beginning felt maybe not rushed, but way too helter-skelter with how they did things. They were kind of making a lot of jump cuts to different origins, and the music, while it was a good soundtrack, just seemed unfitting. It changed with each scene. Like, they would be playing one song, one scene, then playing another one the next. It went by way too quickly, I think. It should have all been one song or maybe two songs, but yeah, again, it's a great music piece that they played, and it's great music pieces that they played, but it was just too, like, everywhere in the beginning for me. That was the first pacing issue that I had. The second one is that I do not think the movie should have taken place over the course of one night like it did. I think that is too little time for the character development to come together as it did. And I don't mean individual character development. I mean, like at the end where El Diablo says that the Suicide Squad is like his new family now, and that he's going to protect them no matter what. Like, that is, like, that's wonderful. I love the fact that they're like a family. I love the fact that they're all friends. But that sense of camaraderie is not achieved through the very little interaction they all had. They talked a lot, and that was great, and I can definitely see Harley Quinn and Deadshot having a family-like connection. But aside from that, I don't really see how El Diablo really achieved that, although he did. It's like over the course of one night, you know what I mean? It's like they've only fought one big villain, they've only gone on one really awesome mission. And don't get me wrong, the mission was awesome, but again, like, it was only one. I think it should have, like, they should have built up a rep as Task Force X, and then, like, when the big bad Enchantress comes along, tries to take over the world, that's when all the stakes are high, all bets are off, and that's sort of when they have to put everything on the line. And I think that's when they should have said, like, hey, if we're going down together. Because they would have spent time together prior to it, and it just would have made more sense to me. That being said, the villain in this movie, I liked Enchantress a lot. While it wasn't the villain I expected more of... When I first saw the trailer about a year ago, when it came out, I expected Joker to be the big bad of the movie, and for Enchantress to maybe turn the tables a little bit, or maybe be like a wild card who didn't really become part of the family. But it turns out that she's the main villain of the movie, and I've got no problem with that. I wouldn't say she was underwhelming at the end, but I remember some people saying that they liked her better when she looked like the Gollum Ghost Witch, kind of. I would agree with that, because at the end, when she's sort of like the combination of Dr. Moon and the Enchantress, I mean, that looks cool, like the big headdress and all that, don't get me wrong, but I mean, that's just kind of what it is. It's the combination of Dr. Moon and the Enchantress. I think that the Enchantress looks much more menacing, and oddly enough, much more godlike when she's like the Ghost Witch. And I think that because it would be a really creative take on the whole godlike thing, because, of course, when she looks like a god, which is what she was portrayed as in ancient times, she's, of course, wearing like this royalty headdress. She looks like royalty. She looks like she has immense power. I think that, like, this Gollum, you know, this almost this ghastly, lurching type, like, godlike figure would have been a really cool take on that idea. Her brother was a great villain, too. Wasn't really a whole lot of development to him, but he was a good tool to be used by the Enchantress, and I liked that that's how it turned out. I was afraid that her brother was, like, gonna kill her on purpose, and then, like, take everything for himself, because the Enchantress was building up a lot more than he was. I think that would have been a mistake in the movie, but it didn't happen, and really, he ends up dying first, and I think that that was, like, good enough, because I think Enchantress taking the spotlight as the villain was a really good idea. the Batman scenes, actually, let me say this first. The Flash cameo was really cool. I like that he was the one that took down Captain Boomerang, who was also great in this movie, by the way. He was really, really, like, he was a funny guy, and that's what he was supposed to be. He's not, I'm not sure if I'd call him comic relief, like, that's not all he is, but that's what a huge part of him is. And it was really funny. He was really good at, he's a good actor. You know, he portrays the character very well. I liked it. And I like how Captain Boomerang is the one that gets taken down by the Flash in the movie. Flash cameo was awesome. First time we've seen Ezra Miller as the Flash on the big screen. It was really cool. It was awesome. Well, actually, I mean, we saw him in Batman v Superman, but you know what I mean. What I will say was underwhelming in the movie, the two parts that I was talking about in my spoiler-free part of this video, was the Batman scenes. Now, don't get me wrong, Batman's performance is not underwhelming, and neither are Deadshot's daughters, or anything like, or daughter, or, yes, daughters, as in her performance. Not anything like that. No, it was the actual way the scene played out visually that was underwhelming to me. That, and also a little bit of the car chase with Harley Quinn and the Joker, because I remember before this movie came out, they were asked, the people who were making the movie, about like how Batman was going to fit into the story, and they said that he was going to be looked at from a villain's perspective in this movie. And at first I was like, that's like a wonderful idea, because that's how I envision villains seeing this Batman. In Batman v Superman, he was a scary Batman. And while he's changed in character since Batman v Superman regained his hope in humanity, I think that the goal was always to seem like this monster to villains. Like, when I heard about that, I wanted him to be totally shrouded in darkness. I never wanted to see an HD look at Batman in Suicide Squad. I always wanted him to be this ghostly figure, this wraith that comes in the night to take the bad guys away. Like, I think that's how they should have portrayed him, and that's like the only part that was specifically underwhelming to me. And again, the only thing underwhelming about the entire movie, aside from that, was the fact that it took place over the course of one night. Again, I think it should have taken place over several days. They should have had a few more missions. But aside from that, great movie. It was a great ending. The climax was awesome. You know, all the actors were great, and I think it's definitely worth watching. So tell me in the comments what you guys thought about Suicide Squad. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you love about it? What did you not love about it? And if you guys liked the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I am out.